These are two pipelines, very major pipelines linking Russia with Europe. They are so-called Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. They're very big. For example, Nord Stream 2, that's infamous because it was in the news quite a bit last year when it was just completed, is 1,200 kilometers long. They're very high capacity. They go through the sea, and that's basically where this leakage happened. The fortunate thing, Bevis, was that the pipelines were actually, I don't know whether fortunate or unfortunate, due to this economic warfare between Europe and Russia, and let's call it Putin rather than Russia, they were essentially not functioning, but they were full of gas.
Mm. So in terms of the flow of gas, how much gas is pouring out of them at the moment, and how it must be very damaging to the oceans?
It is very damaging. It's an economic catastrophe, and it's an environmental disaster as well. Essentially, we know that, for example, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline was filled with so-called technical gas, just a gas that enables then further gas to come in. It had about over 170 million cubic meters of gas, and methane, the gas, obviously natural gas is methane, is about 25 times more potent than CO2. Now, it's an extremely difficult thing to estimate how much gas we're going to lose, because we'll lose probably most of the gas that's in the pipe, and there's hopefully nothing more coming through. But it's difficult to estimate because hopefully some of that gas would get absorbed in the water, and I'm trying to catch up with some chemical friends of mine that will sort of try and estimate what the absorption could be. So it's very hard to tell how much. But a lot of gas, we're talking about millions of tons of CO2 equivalents coming out into the air, which is very, very damaging.
Mm. You know, many are accusing Russia of sabotage. What is your expectation as to what happened here?
Well, this is all guesswork. We don't know. But let's face it, Bev, there's only one party that's been weaponizing gas, and there's only one party that's been trying to terrorize Europe using gas. So, you know, I don't want to point any fingers until we see the evidence, but, you know, the motive is usually very important when you're trying to solve a crime.
Yeah. You know, it is interesting because these projects, the Nord Stream project, was such a huge one. It was going to be such a critical supplier of energy to Europe. You know, it's now this political football. Do you think Nord Stream as a project is pretty much over now?
Well, it is dead. I mean, Nord Stream 2 was pretty dead anyway because of it was never going to be operated after the invasion of Ukraine. Nord Stream 1 was very important. It was still being operated, and Europe wanted gas to come through Nord Stream 1, another major pipeline, but it was Putin that basically turned it down to trickle with various excuses of some pumping stations not working and so on. And this is just another sort of blow to this whole thing. Now, even if Putin disappeared tomorrow, it would take years and years to fix this, because this is a very difficult thing to fix, because these pipelines are about 70 meters underwater, and they are thick stainless steel pipes that are actually, they have concrete shell around them. So fixing that at 70 meters depth, I mean, it would take a ridiculously long time.
Mm. Do you think that that landscape now, though, has forever changed, and that Europe will just decide that they have to find alternative supplies and energy sources into the future and not depend on a country like Russia again?
Oh, absolutely, because even before this incident, I think it was quite obvious to everyone following the invasion of Ukraine, threats of use of chemical and weapons, and even nuclear tactical weapons. It became obvious that Putin is using energy as a weapon, and that Putin is a very unreliable supplier. So I think it would take extremely long time for anyone to go back to gas supplies from Russia. But even if it does take such a long time, as we know, due to energy transition, hopefully we will not have to go back to gas in any large quantity anymore in future.
In the future, indeed. But, you know, if Europe has to get through this next winter, how complicated is that going to be?
Well, I think most of the calculations were based on very little additional supply from Nord Stream 1, which is now damaged. Anyway, so we have about 87% of all the storage full. So bar an extremely cold winter, which again can't be excluded, I think Europe should be fine through the winter. Then we are moving on into after the winter period. Obviously, there's less use of gas. Gas is highly seasonal in terms of use. But then we have to think about the following year. So then in the whole story, it's not just European story. Security of supply is European story, but Europe, as a rich part of the world, is bidding up liquefied gas, LNG, in the rest of the world, and in making it very expensive, especially for the sort of developing countries like, take Pakistan, for example, and the likes. They simply can't afford to buy gas at these very, very high international prices. So it's not good news for anyone.